Everybody awake?
Let's crack them on this.
The meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of St. Albans, West Virginia is called to order. Tonight's meeting has 2 or 3 issues. The first thing we need to do is approve the minutes from Tuesday, June the 3rd.
Madam Chair, I move that the minutes from the last meeting on June 3rd be approved as having been read.
Second.
The minutes, everybody for that? First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. This is kind of an unusual thing for this committee. We're usually just at our table and take care of business, so it's been very rare for me to be in a meeting this large. I would appreciate everybody staying as quiet as possible so that people who are speaking can be heard. There are 2 articles in this meeting tonight. The first is Article 1333.03, Accessory Structures, Fences, Pools, and Uses in Residential Districts. It has to do with outdoor play equipment being in the front yard. I guess I'm now call for comments.
May I ask if that is all it is about the outdoor play equipment? Or are there other parts, subparts to this particular article?
That first one, and Mike can probably confirm for us.
The only thing they're doing is changing it. They're taking out one. What is it? Just a second, I have.
What's that last line, Joe? What number was that, 11?
Yeah, here it is. Thank you. They basically have taken out the phrase prohibited in the front yard. So in essence, what the new ordinance would say that outdoor play equipment, when anchored to the ground, shall have a minimum setback of 15 feet from the front property line and 3 feet from the side property line.
Is that all that's in this about the structures and stuff?
That's the only thing, that's on the first item, that's all it's dealing with is the playground equipment.
The first item,
There's a second item,
pertaining to structures?
no, pertaining to that, that's the one that deals with the recreational
So
vehicles.
that's the only thing that pertains to structures?
Yes.
That's correct. Okay, all right, I just want to make it clear because I'm obligated by the federal government to inform you of certain things if you try to change things, but you're not, so that's fine, and I'll pass this on to anybody else who may have a,
No, they are changing things.
well, no, I'm talking, there's one thing, as far as I'm concerned, and my question with it is, I wanted to know exactly what it was that they were doing concerning structures. Because I have structures, but they're not that. So it'd be a waste of the committee's time for me to sit here and tell you a bunch of stuff that's irrelevant to what they're trying to implement.
I agree. I don't know what you're referencing, but I agree that if it's not dealing, this is all this ordinance deals with is outdoor play equipment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're going to move your trampoline, Rick.
Huh?
You're going to move your trampoline, Rick.
Oh, but doggone. No, you know what, I do set up occasional stuff for kids in the neighborhood to play. I put a pool there one time for a couple weeks in summer and different things. It was the only flat part I had, in my yard. But no, I'm not putting any permits in. That's all I wanted to know.
I'm glad you said that for clarification. It's when anchored to the ground.
Yeah.
So if you take a mobile trampoline and put it out there for the day, and you take it down each night, that's not what this addresses.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. I just wanted to know. I'll talk to you after the meeting. I'll tell you, I'll clear up what I was saying, just in case, because it is my duty by the federal government to inform you of certain obligations concerning structures, and just to let you, it's my duty to inform and educate members of cities on certain, and you may already know. But it's quick, no big deal. Y'all go on.
So what happens to the people that already have playground equipment in their front yard built? I mean, I don't, but I've seen them.
And that's gonna be an issue as far as, are they gonna be grandfathered in?
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a question. If it's unreasonable, and that's gonna be up to the, eventually to council, but if somebody comes there and says you're in violation, you would come to the planning and zoning and say, we would like a variance, or we would like an exception because we are grandfathered in.
The ordinance as currently written does not permit any anchored play equipment in the front yard.
And we need two people.
We think that's a little over restrictive, so we're trying to allow some play equipment, obviously not right up next to the road, but in the front yard.
Madam Chair, I have a question to the council. So, Mike, this proposed change to this particular ordinance, what it does is it makes the ordinance less restrictive then.
Right.
It takes something that is currently just completely prohibited and it allows it.
That's correct.
So-
That's my understanding of what the intent is.
Okay, all right. So outdoor play equipment then would be trampolines, play sets, things like that, that are anchored to the ground specifically.
Yes.
All right, no further
And
questions.
as long as they meet that minimum.
Setback of 15 feet
The
from
minimum
the,
setback, so
yes.
you can't have it right out on the road, because at that point, it's an attractive nuisance.
That is from the property line, not from the curb.
it is 15 feet from the front property line.
Does it have something to do with the side property lines of your
Three-
neighbor? or
3
anything?
feet
3 feet.
from
So
the side
15
property
feet
line.
from the road, 3 feet from your neighboring property line. It's good to know.
It's not a road.
Property line. Okay, from your property.
Property line is 20 feet from the center of the roadway line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So-
Yes, I have just a couple comments. When you live in the city, you agree by deed to abide by the city's zoning and ordinance laws
Yeah.
and all. And the main reason for those is to protect property value and to provide safety and quality of life. I see a couple problems with front yard equipment. One is the comment was made about, liability. Two, I see it when the kids grow a little older and don't like it anymore, it kind of deteriorates and takes away from the neighborhood you bought in, expecting a certain look in your neighborhood, and now you've got dilapidated, one of those wooden structures that isn't made with cheap wood. But the biggest problem I see is the kids are out there playing, you've trained them not to run in the road, but now their mind's on being chased by their friends or whatever, and they run out in the street and get hit. That's the biggest problem I see, plus the nuisance, whether it's 15 feet or not, it's a public nuisance. You go away on vacation and somebody comes in your yard, gets hurt on your equipment, you're liable.
And we didn't start saying it, but before we go much further, before you speak, you should address who you are and where you live so that we know we are dealing with St. Albans residents.
928 Lane Street, Bob Foster.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Michael Irvin, 2523 Winter Street, Route 3. And I don't have a basketball hoop off of my yard into the street, but I know that in my neighborhood there are several that are like that, been there for years, and kids use them all the time. My kids use them sometimes, and they're definitely not 15 feet from that property owner's line. So will they have to move these basketball hoops that lots of kids enjoy?
If I could speak, I believe right now as it stands, they're prohibited right now. Okay? So right now, they're not allowed, okay? So once we strike this out of this, you'll still have to set it back. So it's only lessening the restriction for these, not strengthening.
How far will it have to be set back from the street?
Well, I mean, the 15 foot with
Okay,
three.
so it'll take those away
So-
from kids, is that what's happening?
Well, it's not, it's already, it should already be taken away, unfortunately.
They're being
I
able
had- I had
to
a basketball
grandfather
hoop.
in or allow basketball hoops to be allowed?
A lot of them is the portables that you screw down and they can be moved back,
Some of them.
yeah.
A lot of them's been there for 20 years.
So,
So,
what I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
Kevin, that's good.
right now, before we talk about this, in the ordinance, you're not allowed to have that.
okay,
Okay, so what we're doing is lessening that restriction. So we're not making any change, we're not coming to Michael Irvin and say, you're not allowed to have that basketball hoop, because yesterday you weren't allowed to have that basketball hoop,
okay.
okay?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Could we, I'm not on the committee or anything, but could it be suggested to the committee, to suggest to council, to maybe allow these basketball hoops that pre-exist, that are already like concreted in, Because I know one on my street in particular, and I won't say whose it is, you all know who it is, which is fine. And, but, you know, I know for a fact that's been there for a while.
Well, I know
It's a
growing
great
up, in
asset.
front of my house, my dad had a permanent pole.
Yeah.
And you know, we sit there and we play
There.
basketball all the time.
Right.
You know, I didn't know about the basketball hoops until I got on council 20 years ago.
Right, so
So,
so
but-
that's a suggestion, so since this is up for discussion, and you guys have the ability to put that kind of wording in, consider it.
Are there any other questions from council or from the commission?
Madam Chair, at this time I move that this revision to Article 1333.03 on accessory structures I move that it receive an affirmative recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission with the recommendation to City Council that it do pass.
I'll second.
Call for the vote.
Discussion.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Everybody understands that just means it goes to council.
Goes to council. We are just we're the front porch. We do have to come to the porch before you go to council. Yes.
Could I ask, could you read the text that is going to be recommended to council, please?
Well, what I have here says outdoor play equipment when anchored to the ground shall have a minimum setback of 15 feet from the front property line and 3 feet from any side property line. And I guess that's striking out what used to say prohibited in the front yard. So it looks, you know, now it will be allowed in your front yard.
And
Thank you.
Michael, there is always the opportunity, and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but for those who have had these for 20 years, you know, they can always request a variance on that. You know, I don't think anybody here wants to take away kids' opportunity to play outside.
There's also an opportunity to amend the motion in council before it gets approved.
Yeah, that's the thing. Council, at this point, you know, just all we're doing is we're giving a thumbs up to council, and they can do with it whatever they want.
Right.
Okay, we're going to move on to Article 1333.08, recreational vehicles in residential districts. The subsection C2, such recreational vehicles shall have a minimum setback of, it was 4, now it's going to be 15 feet from the front property line and 3 feet from any side property line.
Madam Chair, I have questions of council.
Go ahead.
So now, with that, where the setback is currently at 4 feet, is there a reason that 4 feet was chosen specifically, or why that's considered to be a good idea? Is that common?
I do not know the history of that. I don't know that it's common. Quite frankly, I was not involved in the one that was probably 50 years old, and I'm not involved in why they chose 15 feet. So how this got to you guys, I think it came through the Ordinance Committee, perhaps making a recommendation, and people on the Ordinance Committee may be able to speak to those numbers. But those are not magic numbers legally.
Did you sign up on the public comment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to add something to your thing there, just briefly, okay?
Sure.
You asked the question about the 4 feet and all?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it was a common sense legislation back when they enacted this, because if you look at the average size of the homeowners' properties in St. Albans, and I don't know, I'm gonna guess 65–70% of the properties are on hillsides, which have limited size lots. Even the flatlands, you know, you look down through here, the lots are not that big. If you drop back 15 feet, you may be going 1/3 of the property owner's property. And that's probably why they put 4 feet, was because that was kind of a reasonable distance. The city has in law a 4-foot right of way from the roadway into your property. They have a right of way, and it's probably why the 4-foot rule is implemented. This is my common sense. I thought about this. I just want to throw that out to you, something to think about, something to consider. But that's, you know, it's partially law, and partially common sense with the geography of our town.
And sir, what was your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rick, my name's Rick Robinson, I live at 850 Wildwood Circle.
Thank
Been
you,
here
sir.
for 35 years, 36 years.
My name's Kim Jones, and we live up on 2524 Lincoln. We don't have 15 feet in the front of our house. I mean, that's about all we got, and our camper is parked on our driveway, on our property. Yes,
I'm sorry, did you,
yes,
you signed up?
yeah, I
Okay.
signed in.
All right. We're about to come to the time where everybody speaks to that. If you can bear with us for just a couple of minutes,
Okay.
we'll be glad to hear you. We'll be
Okay.
glad to hear you out. Any further questions, council?
Are there any further questions?
I'll
council?
add, I'm on the ordinance committee where this originated. And there have been some concerns with RVs being parked right up to the curb where people can't see past them, can't back out past them. Some locations, there are trailers where hitches are sticking out into the right of way or into the sidewalk. You know, that's obviously a hazard to some people. Is 15 feet the right amount of setback? Probably not, but it was a starting point so that we could push it from ordinance committee to planning and zoning, who has better knowledge of all of the ordinances in this section. I would say also, you know, maybe there's a different approach for tiered setbacks, right? If you've got a pop-up trailer, that could be close to the road, but if you've got a 12-foot high motorhome, that's kind of hard to have right up next to the street.
Well, it really, Jackie Heiser, 918 6th Avenue. It really depends on if it's on a corner or not, whether you need to see around, you know, and they have rules about houses being built on corners
Right.
that go
That
back
would be
like 7 feet. So 15 seems a little excessive if you build a house within 7 feet of a corner, but you do have to leave, I think, 7 feet on each side on a corner.
Yeah.
We were all told to sign in period, whether we wanted to speak or not. So
Okay,
you might
we
have to ask them.
Yeah, we have 42 names on this list. If 42 people want to speak. I'm gonna go down the list and call your names, and if you want to speak. Okay, we'll do a 3-minute limit on this. Randall Burnside.
Randy Burnside.
I'm over here.
Yes, sir.
Randy Burnside, I live on Circle Street, up on the hill in the cove. Well, just like they said, I barely have, after you come back 4 foot for the city's part. And then it goes up a bank, my driveway. I can barely get my car up without it dragging. There's no way that I could pull all the way up in there. And I've only got a pop-up. I couldn't imagine how a bigger trailer with a longer tongue, and I understand the 4 foot, but where it's at now, it is behind the fence, on a concrete pad by itself, and it's fenced off so that it's not blocking anything. But how could you distinguish between a pop-up or a 12-foot trailer? You all will make that decision.
That's an excellent question. Oh, no, an answer to that.
Is that all you have to say, sir?
Yes, if y'all would
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you, sir.
Well, we're, Brian.
I'm sure somebody will say my comments, so thank you very much.
Brian, do you mind hanging on just a second? I think Joey.
Well, I know that he asked a question, he wanted a response. I think logically, if there were to be a tiered setback, which isn't being proposed right now, it would be measured by height. And so there's an obvious, you can easily measure the height. You know, every manufacturer has that listed. I apologize. Every manufacturer lists a measured height for their vehicles, right? So there is a way that that could be measured without anybody's prejudice.
Yeah, and I can understand the tongue, because I mean, some of them have bigger tongue on the front.
Ms. Foster, I have a question. Is there more to that, to this article? than just what you read?
No, that's what I have already.
Would you read that again, please?
Subsection C2, such recreational vehicle shall have a minimum setback of 15 feet from the front property line and 3 feet from any side property line.
If I could, that article, that 1333.08, is about a page and a half long. This is just one subsection that's being amended.
The additional front yard requirements read that during any calendar year, one recreational vehicle may be parked or stored on a front yard driveway or other hard surface parking area. And the last line, aside from the one that is possibly being amended, reads, all recreational vehicles parked in the front yard shall be parked on pavement.
Well, the only reason I asked that is because, I mean, myself and I've just, from talking to other people, I think that people were, oh my gosh, they're, you know, there's gonna be tremendous changes. So reading that again may shorten the feedback. That's all I say.
Thank you.
Thomas Hanson.
Brian didn't.
He said no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said no.
I'm no. Thank you.
Thomas Hanson.
Right here, good evening. I just want to say this is, in my opinion, this is kind of a failure of our council to not recognize how important of an issue this is for our city to have this in this facility when it was recommended in a council meeting to make this a larger space. We have people in the hallway that can't even hear the discussion that's going on. I will say though, I don't know why the recommended change. Why are we not just enforcing the 4-foot rule? Why are we requiring 15 feet and people are still going to be parked over the curb? What's wrong with the enforcement aspect of this? Why is the council not addressing that? That's a question I have. I mean, what does the proposal do? What does this change? What does this fix? Is it an aesthetic issue? Because if it's aesthetics, that's not my problem. That's my investment. This is my family's vacation. These are things that I enjoy, that I put my time and hard money into. This is not for you to decide where I should park, where I pay taxes and registration, property taxes on my vehicles and my property to live in the city of St. Albans. I didn't agree to an HOA. I purposely moved to St. Albans to avoid an HOA. So for you to restrict this and to put more restrictions on something that's already in place is ridiculous. And I disagree with, I don't think you should move this forward. Simple as that.
I agree.
Before I go on, I don't have a dog in this hunt. I don't have a recreational vehicle. I don't want a recreational vehicle. I want to go to a hotel or something else. John
Just
Codell.
before we move on, and I appreciate your comments, and you are correct. This is your property, you have a right to do with it to some extent, because the whole purpose of planning and zoning is to make sure somebody doesn't move into you and trash it up and affect your values.
My stuff is clean, maintained, registered, insured. This is not an issue.
Sir, we're not here to individualize. I'm just saying, it's not just about you, it's about everybody. And if everybody was like you, maybe we wouldn't have any problems in the world. But I just want to let you know that planning and zoning doesn't look at individuals, they look at the neighborhood and what it does for everyone.
Sounds to me you're looking at individuals, because one or two people will trash it up and ruin it for everybody in here. That's the problem. I mean, you've got one or two people that might violate this, and then 100 of us have to suffer.
I don't know, I don't know what's
there.
They specifically say there's 2 or 3 houses with their things sticking out too far. Specifically said that. So we're gonna punish the whole town for 2 or 3 houses that's got their trailers sticking out too far in the road. Just go knock on their door and tell them to slide the trailer back. I mean, not change the whole ordinance.
Enforce what you got instead of changing everything.
Well, file a complaint.
I mean, we're a river community. We got 2 rivers here. The boating is a big thing of it. My buddy back here told me we hold the biggest boating event in the country. Okay, you're gonna start having people with their kayaks leave the town. It's gonna hurt that event.
Sir, can you give us your name and address?
Thomas Hart at 714 Clark Drive.
Thank you, Thomas. Do you have anything else to say?
Is there anybody else? Apparently this list was a sign-up list, so you don't have to say anything, but I'll just go around the room. Yes, ma'am.
Well,
50 years ago, I lived on Washington Street in St. Albans. I live on 810 7th Avenue in St.
What was your name?
Jane Hospital.
Jane Foster.
Yeah.
And 50 years ago, I raised my $2 on Washington Street here in St. Albans. You never was allowed to park a camper or a boat whatsoever, no kind of recreational vehicle in the front yard, period. And that's the way it should be.
Not everybody
That's not
has
what
the
the ordinance
luxury to
says.
put something in their backyard.
Front yard, I said. That's the way it always used to be. You was not allowed to park a camper or a motorhome or a boat in the front yard, period. I don't know how it's got changed around where people can put their campers or their boats in the front yard.
I'd like to request kindly when someone's speaking that everybody else be quiet so we can all hear.
I mean, there's a guy who lives on the Sand Hill. They got on him because his boat was in his driveway in his yard. He had to put it beside the house. It was a big boat too, and he can just barely get beside the house. But that's where he parks it at now.
I have 7 feet between my yard and my 2 neighbors. That's all I have, so I can't put my boat, I can't put my camper there.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Bob Foster, 928 Lane Street. It sounds to me like if the problem is you got, it sounds to me like if you've got tongues of the campers and stuff sitting out in the street, it's an enforcement problem, not a change of ordinance problem. Because, I mean, we've got them on our place in a blind curb, and it's sometimes hard to see around the curb. But he keeps them back 4 feet, so there's nothing to be said. You can't make somebody go spend, when they bought in, according to a certain set of rules, as far as I know, the rules have always been you could put it on your driveway or any parking pad, as long as it was a concrete pad. You could put it right beside the garage or whatever. But half the people here don't have the room to move it. We're on a hillside, up or down. And how can you force them to spend the money to build another pad? Or my neighbor that has it would have to build a lift. He'd have to build a big thing to expand because his lot goes over the hill to put it back. So I don't see how you can require somebody to do that and change the rules when everybody knew what they were getting when they moved in. Just enforce the current policies.
Amen.
Yeah, I was talking a while ago, my name's Kim Jones, I'm at 2520 Lincoln Avenue. And like I was saying a little bit ago, we only have enough room to park our camper. It is tall, it's 25 foot long, and it takes up our whole front yard to the walkway, you know. And, I mean, we've got that, and when I bought it, the mayor, Mr. Page, and one of the police officers told me there was no problem with my camper sitting there.
I'll say as far as enforcement on your
Yes.
property with campers, it's not a police issue.
Okay. Well, I mean,
So as far as like the campers and trailers on your property, that's not us.
Okay.
So if it's on the road, you're not supposed to be on the road,
It's on the
but
road. It's in my driveway.
so that's not us.
Who is it?
That'd be the building department.
The building department?
Yes.
Okay.
So as far as like debris, your grass is too high, that's not us. It's also the building department.
Now, mine's just my camper in my driveway.
But anything property related is them.
And I got nowhere else. Mr. Scott James, he told me, he said, it's no problem for you to park it there. You have nowhere else to put it. I have a privacy fence around my backyard, and it's not big enough anyway to hold my camper. And on either side, there's not enough room to pull my camper down there. So I have nowhere. I don't want, you can't park it on the street, so my driveway is the only place I got. I don't have $100 a month to pay for storage. Thank you.
My name is Gregory Raines. I'm at 2139 Cleveland Avenue. Thank you all for allowing us to speak for one. I know you all most likely probably didn't expect this much a response, and you probably don't normally have to speak to anybody on most of the things you talk about. I will reiterate what a lot of people have said. Obviously, I'm on Cleveland Avenue. I am extremely restricted. Anyone that lives on the flats are mostly extremely restricted. I've got about 26 foot from the road, back 4 foot, so now I'm at 22 foot. I've got, most of us have one parking pad, that limited parking. In my example, I have a business right across the street. We all share the street, one side of the street parking, not two for that, as a matter of fact also. No access to my backyard. The alleyway is not kept by the city up in any fashion, overgrowing everything in my property as well. We maintain it ourselves as a neighborhood. You can't access that alley from one end due to Moses completely taking over that end. So now we can't access it from that end. I will say, building department has been phenomenal anytime I've ever dealt with them, with building fences and hashing out any issues. They are great. I don't want to bash on them. But like others have said, if it is an enforcement issue, I have had a bass boat in my front yard, not on a pad. Unbeknownst to me, didn't realize it was against ordinance to keep it that way. I keep my property in tip-top shape like most everyone else around me. Not one time in almost 10 years have I ever had anyone from the city confront me about an illegally parked boat on my property to utilize in one of the most beautiful rivers around that we all honestly live here because, a lot of us. And for my case, as a bass boat owner at the time, you know, that is not something that you leave there sitting all the time. You're not going to go store that somewhere to use, right? That's something you're going to pull out regularly multiple times a week, hundreds of times a year. Not only that, but you are utilizing that and spending your money right here in our community. So I would definitely ask you all to think about that. This would 100% eliminate me from being able to own any boat or recreational piece of equipment for my family for the rest of me living here in St. Albans. And I will absolutely have to leave because it is something that I enjoy to live here. I do love it here, but I would not be able to live in my current residence if this would pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep, this gentleman right here.
My name's Sam Busher at 2646 Riverside Drive. Going on with about everybody else's, you know, boats and RVs, all that. I don't see much of a difference of it being, you saying it being close to the curb. You know, you got cars that are already parked on the curb and things like that in corners, and, you know, I don't see it being any difference whether it's 4 foot, 6 foot, you know. You got a car in a corner, you come around that corner, and you, I mean, what's the difference of being blind on your RV boat to having a blind spot to hit in a car?
Yeah, my name's Paul Tabbitt. I live over on Aleph Lane. This is not going to affect me, but because of the 4 foot, 10 foot, 15 foot. But what I'm saying is, y'all painted this with a wide brush. Go judge every subject on its merit. If it's blocking traffic, if it's a hindrance to walkways, if it's doing things that cause a safety concern, go with that. But when you lay down laws and strict guidelines where people can't do this, I mean, they can't do it financially, or that these houses that we have here are well over 50 years old. They weren't, you know, we all grew into this. So let's use this, let's use this as a training exercise to figure out, let's make it safe so that we can keep the police running smoothly instead of coming out worrying about causing a traffic violation or some type of road hazard, kids getting hit. Let's judge each place on its own merit.
Whose hand was up first? Gentleman in the back.
I'm Austin Gessel, 2015 McKinley Avenue. I have a question. Let's say someone theoretically actually physically can't comply with the ordinance. What happens? Do they just lose their camper? Do they keep getting tickets? What happens if they actually physically can't abide by what the ordinance is saying? That's a question I don't like. I know it's an open discussion, but it actually will probably come up multiple times.
I would refer that to Marshall. Is Marshall here?
Yeah, I've been waiting. All right, so just to let you know,
The building department did not bring this to the table. I am the zoning official as well. I do not agree with this. Okay, just like you all said, you've had people that have boats in their yards for years. Have you ever heard me yell at them? Have you ever heard me yell at anybody playing basketball? No, I won't. So you need to revert back to who started this while we're here, and then go from there.
Austin, did you have more you wanted to say?
I think I'm good. Ultimately, if the main person that's gonna actually do the stuff for it doesn't support it, then maybe we should have a more discussion as to where it's gonna lie down for the rest of the week too.
Madam Chair, could I offer some advice? I see people throwing up their hands left and right, and like I think this lady back here has been throwing hers up a couple times. And can we get a line of people that's wanting to speak? They can line up and then one at a time. That way.
You already answered my question, so I'm good.
Okay. I just don't want people to get passed up, and I want them to get the opportunity to be able to speak.
Yes, go ahead.
My name's Thomas Lipscomb. I live at 1012 7th Avenue. I have the example of what you got. I got a 32-foot motorhome, 12.5 foot high. The 15 feet that you all just apparently just pulled the number out of your backside, that makes no sense whatsoever. I am 5 feet away. You can walk down. You can see everything. When y'all start pulling numbers out and you don't have a clue of what's going on, that's when things are getting dangerous. That's when people are going to start leaving the city. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This, I don't know. I just, it feels like a personal attack on people that are boaters, campers, and all that. And we're the most well-responsible, financial responsible people, law-abiding citizens, and you're not listening. You're just pulling numbers out of your backside.
Mr. Lipscomb, if I could,
yeah,
we're not the ones that pulled the number out.
I apologize.
Who is?
My apologies. Well, let me rephrase that to whoever pulled the numbers out.
Ordinance committee brought it to us.
Okay.
Okay, so whoever's in the ordinance committee, I would say that Mr. Cutts could speak to that. But we are responding to the ordinance committee bringing this to us.
Okay. The 15 feet was brought about as a compromise between different viewpoints, as a starting point for planning and zoning to work off of. My family has an RV. We enjoy RVing all the time. If I had an RV at my property, this would affect me personally.
Right, and like I said, 15 feet is just way too much. If you're using the excuse that people need 15 feet to see around, they probably shouldn't have a license, to be honest with you. I mean, no more. I know a lot of the places in the rural, the county has an easement of 6 feet. It should be no longer than 6 feet. 4 feet to 6 feet probably wouldn't be a lot of a difference to people, but this 15 feet is ridiculous. Thank you. I'll let somebody else.
My name's Corey Taylor. I live at 2736 Wildwood Circle. I just wanted to speak on the situation. I have an enclosed trailer that I have at my home. And I do a lot of work in the city. I take care of the mental health facilities. I take care of subways, Chase Bank beside the police station. I try to help beautify the city, as well as when, say, a widow has something going on and they can't make, the grass cutting, and they would typically get fined. I come out and help them out as well. But I'm not trying to paint a picture for myself. Just wanted to come up and speak for the community as well, that our geography is laid out in the mountains. It's not a flat terrain. A lot of these people do not, including myself currently, do not have the limitations that you can go on the side of a mountain 15 feet away from your residence and park these things, including myself, who takes care of a lot of things within the city and elsewhere. Also, our community, St. Albans growing up was always like a big area, great football team. We had the fireworks. We had a lot going on at Kmart. Everybody was down there thriving. Right now, Nitro's outdoing us. I mean, come on, man. We can't go for this. So I'm thinking, let's rethink the structure right now and ride the wave with this whole Hatfield McCoy ATV thing. We've got Airbnbs. There's at least 50 in this area that could utilize these trailers coming in with people with their side-by-sides from New York and where have you, and let's ride a wave and make some money and get some businesses for them. That's just my opinion, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak?
I just have a quick question. Will there be a notice when the council gets this?
Yes.
Goes to them?
Yes, and I know some of you have been critical about what's going on here. You are correct. We did not expect everybody to show up, and we just have our normal meetings with 10 people here. But I do want you to understand, this is the way government works, is council has these committees. You don't have a right to go there and say anything. They refer it to P&Z for public comment. This is where you have a right to express your concerns and tell this committee. So it is working the way it is designed. Nobody has done anything behind anybody's back. They have explained to you as best they can what got them here. And now we are listening to the public people. With regard to your comment, what will happen is this board will make a recommendation, either yay or nay, to the council. And then council's agenda is out there they meet twice a month. The first and the third Monday of every month at 6:30 down above the fire station.
Okay.
And the agenda is out there on their website. So
if this is on their agenda, it'll be listed on there?
It'll be listed on their agenda that this ordinance is up for consideration.
Okay.
And then they will have it set for a public speaking session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm Dale Withrow. I live at 812 South Washington Street. Mike said pretty much what I was getting ready to say. There is a process here, and I thank you folks for opening this up so that we can be here to speak. I'd like to make a couple of suggestions. I have a driveway that's a lot longer than my camper, but I can't meet the 15-foot requirement. And I can speak to Mr. Coates because I know he's familiar with this kind of stuff. When it comes to planning and zoning signs, for instance, as a visual problem for traffic, there's a different requirement for a corner than there is for a straight street. So I would suggest that this be expanded so that there be different considerations for where the camper is parked. If it's in a corner lot or if it's near an intersection, there might be one requirement. If it's just in the middle of the street, might be a different requirement. And I would also suggest that if one of the concerns is the sight line, that this be revised to be from the curb and not from the property line. I know on South Washington, we have a 25-foot right-of-way there through the street, to the city, and then by the time you set back 15 feet, my camper will be in my living room. So,
yep, mine too.
I think, and the other thing is, and I'd like to say this to everybody, I was on council at one time, and when an ordinance is considered, it is a minimum that we have. There's always exceptions, there's variances, there are ways that you can appeal and have a different, perhaps a different ruling for your particular situation. So thank you for letting us speak, but let's put some more thought into this, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else with a comment?
I've actually went through this already. I have a 44-foot motor home.
I'm sorry, sir, what is your
My
name?
name is Jerry Over Plumbing, or Jerry Over, 2705 Riverside Drive. In 2019, they came to my house. I have a 44-footer. I had it parked in my driveway, axles into concrete, and it was set back 8 feet. So the building inspector came down, told me somebody had complained about it, and he said, you got to move it. So I came down here and read the zoning. The building inspector, it was the other guy from Cheney was here, the building inspector, and he let me read it, and it said 4 foot. I was 8 foot back. So he said, I hope you wouldn't notice that, because the only reason I came is because somebody was complaining about it, because it is a large motorhome. So I put it around behind the house. I got 1.5 acres there, so I really have the room for it. But when I poured up front of the house, I want to clean it and get it all ready and all that, and somebody just comes by and start complaining. I think it should, if it's already been on the books this long, it should just stay what it is. Just leave it alone. There's other things in St. Albans that needs to be worried about besides somebody's camera. There's a lot of people have campers that's more valuable than a lot of people's houses, you know. They got a big investment there, but they can't just go store it for $500 a month and, you know, it just. And this is a family area, you know, my company's actually in Charleston, but I choose to live in St. Albans for 53 years because of the way it is, you know. It's a family area. And a lot of people I know have boats, campers. I have all that stuff, but, you know, I keep it back as far as I can, keep a nice home, clean, mowed. But I think they got a bunch of other things to worry about besides somebody's camper, except busybodies going around saying, you know, this camper don't look good sitting in front of his house, you know. I think some of us people just need to mind their own business and, you know, keep the ordinance what it is, you know. That was put that way for a reason. Most people don't have 20, 30 feet in front of their house at the same time. You know. That's just my opinion.
Thank you.
That's why we're here.
I'm Gavin Smith. I'm at 2105 Pennsylvania Avenue. I've been there 20 years. I moved into this town. My dad was a pastor. Really, I think this issue is between me and one person that is on y'all's committee, and that's why all of these people are here. My wife actually made that post yesterday on Facebook that have all these people here. It was an issue with, you know, he just doesn't want to look at certain things in his eyesight. Like I race side sides professionally, so, you know, I'm always working on my side sides in the driveway, or if something's on the street, but I keep my property, you know, nice, and I don't know, it's just, it seems like it's going 15 feet back on our property that we all pay taxes for. Just seems crazy to me, when it just seems un-American, really. I mean, it's taking our rights and stuff that we pay for that we've worked hard for, and I don't know. I mean, I've always been a St. Albans person. I don't know that I would leave other than going to Tornado, but yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin.
My name is Jason Bonham. I live at 2649 Riverside Drive. I mean, I like to echo what some of these people have said. Personally, I'm like Jerry. I mean, I can comply, no problem. But not everybody can. And where I used to live, I couldn't. And this is a wonderful community to raise your kids in, your grandkids in. Born and raised here, lived here all my life other than the military, and don't want to live anywhere else. But I would ask that the commission, this commission, and also the city council, remember that we don't want to put undue hardships or things that people can't meet these things, or we're asking them to give up a part of their life or to sacrifice, you know, some unfairly. I would just ask that both the city council and this commission take those things into before you advance this as a recommended change, this part of it, because it is going to have a place of hardship on a lot of people. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Man, it sounds like everybody's kind of saying a lot of the same things. I'm Michael Irvin, 2523 Winter Street. I don't have a boat, I don't have an RV, but what I do have is a business. I moved away after graduation in 2002 from St. Albans, and lived in Chicago, lived in New York, lived all over the world, and came back here. Then moved back to St. Albans because I was one of those guys that was like, man, someone's got to do something to change this town. We have rivers, we have a great community, we have great people, we have great streets, and great history. And so there's a moment where I was like, man, I can't just stand idly by and do nothing. So, you know, people in my life are like, why don't you do something to stop complaining, Mike? So I opened Culver Coffee with my family, moved them to River Lake, and you know,
where's everybody's coffee tonight?
It's closed at 8. But yeah, so anyway, what I'm saying is we have seen an incredible revitalization, movement, and momentum over the past 6 to 10 years in this town for a lot of reasons, and mainly because of the Coal River. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we've had all of these festivals which have been spoken for. Now we have the Hatfield McCoy Trails, which was talked about a moment ago. And we have a living, breathing example of someone who lives here, who's utilizing our outdoor recreational activities as a professional, living right in our neighborhoods. And he's probably not the only one. This is just a small, minute number of the people that would be affected. But the bigger question is, what kind of story do we want everybody else around St. Albans to think about us? That we are people that want to overreach, let a government overreach into our citizens? Do we want them to say, you know, these are good people, it's a good community that care about one another and that also have incredible opportunities recreational? If you guys recommend this to be passed to council, what that's going to tell them, I don't know, I doubt that it will go through council, but if it did, if it passes through this committee as a recommendation and goes through council and it passes, it's going to hurt and hinder the revitalization effort of our city. Also, to think about this, and you know, by the way, thank you guys for doing this. Thanks for volunteering your time, especially Barbara. Thanks for being here and doing this and leading this. But my point is, it's these kind of small changes that can change the course for the future of our city. So, please, don't recommend it to council. Say, we don't recommend this ordinance change. Let's keep it as is. Now, if there are other changes that need to occur, kick it back to ordinance and let them reconsider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
I'd just like to say something. I'm Brian Klosterman. I am the city councilman for Ward 4. These are the council, these are the ordinances right here. You honestly cannot keep it as is if you want what you say you want. You're gonna have to take a look through here, contact the councilman, say what you want changed on here, okay? Because right now, how many people in their front yard have their recreational vehicle parked on pavement? How many people? Not everybody does. Okay, so there's one thing that's wrong, and then you got
enforce it.
Well, you got some people that say enforce it. You got other people saying don't enforce it. So
enforcement is more out. I feel like more people are trying to enforce than not enforce, though. Because I mean, as a community, a lot of people got more side by sides. They got trailers. They got boats. Then I feel like that's outweighing the odds of not having it. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people are here to try to enforce it.
Councilman, go ahead. You have it first. If I could, all we're here for, we're not here for them to clean up the other ordinances. That's another committee. We're here because they want to strike the 4 foot and make it 15. That's why we're here tonight. To decide if we want to recommend or not recommend.
Right. Thanks.
Are there any further comments?
Point of order, Mike's mother was a great basketball coach. Okay, and my understanding it's my first time being planning in the planning committee. I've gone to a couple council meetings.
Can you remind us of your name and address, sir, please?
Lloyd Robinson, 850 Wildwood, sir.
Thank you.
Been up there working on Jason's house during the storm one time. The neighbors, our kids played together. This guy doesn't remember me, but I remember him and his sister lived behind Harvey Street. Anyway, my understanding is you're a committee of volunteers, is that right? Okay, and you are here, someone that apparently, I'll just call it Joey.
Yeah.
Someone in your group that you represent, I'm not sure exactly what it is, wanted to implement this rule for some particular reason. Now, you guys, I'm just trying to clarify so everybody fully understands. I'm trying to make plain English. You guys are here to discuss it and make a recommendation to City Council whether this proposal should be considered or not by City Council. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, from the looks of
large amount of people we have here versus the handful of you, I feel the committee is outnumbered vastly by people who do not want this to pass, this recommendation to pass in its current form. And, you know, you guys can say what you want to say and do what you want to do, because you're a committee and you are vested in the authority to do this, but you're outnumbered. And there are elections appoint people and all this stuff. So, you know, I'm just saying, you're outnumbered right now with this particular incident. Just my understanding. But I appreciate you guys doing it. Volunteering is a hard job, and I appreciate it. I just want to kind of clear up for myself and for everybody here. Right now, you're here to decide whether or not to make this recommendation. I hope that you do not recommend it.
The purpose of this meeting was for public comment. They have heard the public comment and they will make their decision.
Okay.
However, as a public service announcement for the city of St. Albans, these people are volunteers.
Yeah.
There are lots of committees we would love to have you people volunteer for. So everybody, when it comes and affects them, they come down and talk. But there are many other times when we need people to step up and say, hey, I'll donate one day a month to come sit on a committee. So just consider that, people.
Put it out there where we know it when you need somebody.
And I will defend Councilman Cutts. It wasn't just one person on the ordinance committee. It had to be a majority of the ordinance committee to send it to us. So I don't know how many. Is there five?
I'm on the ordinance as well.
So it takes a minute. It took 3 to send it to us. So it wasn't just one in particular. I'm just clearing that up.
I was just making a statement to clarify that for myself and for the others, who, a lot of people here are first time people coming to this. I'm just trying to get a clear, concise, plain English language of what's going on here. And I thank you all for allowing me to speak.
I'd also like to clarify that just because we're sitting here discussing this does not mean every person at this table was in favor of it being on the agenda for today.
Do you take a vote? Is that what it is? Do y'all take a vote?
Anything can be put on the agenda, and then it goes up for a vote after that. So we haven't voted on this a single time.
Okay, I mean like tonight, are you going to vote on this tonight to pass the city council?
Do understand, it's on the agenda. That doesn't mean the committee is in favor of it or against it. It means one person said, would you please put this on the agenda? That's how it gets here.
Is there anybody here that would be willing, that might have had any part in bringing this to the committee? It seems as though it'd be odd to me and a stretch to think that not one person here was involved in potentially bringing this to attention to even be discussed. So the question would be, with this much voice in opposition to such change, where's the person here that would be willing to speak up for in favor of this?
They're here.
I mean, somebody is here would be, and I guess if not, honestly, I wouldn't expect somebody to speak up when you would get this kind of opposition.
I have no idea who brought this up. My suggestion to anybody who has a question is to call the mayor tomorrow. I don't know.
I tried to go see him today.
Hold on a second, he's asking you.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the ordinance committee is the one that handed this to the zoning committee.
Yes.
But there's nothing that says that the ordinance committee had anything to do, they weren't the ones that promulgated this thing. They have received either through their
Somebody had to put it on their agenda.
Somebody has been, but it doesn't mean that it originated with them.
No,
I mean, it's not the way the ordinance committee or the zoning committee.
Okay.
Can I have recognition? Actually, Bill, did you want to speak again? All right. Okay, I'd just like to clarify a few things. I wasn't planning on speaking. For those who don't know me, it's Jared Page, Vice Mayor, Councilman at Large, 715 Holly Street, St. Albans, and the Chairman of the Ordinance Committee. So I'd like to clarify a few things that were incorrect. All right. So when we brought back the Ordinance Committee this term, the whole process was for council members, if they had something they wanted to look at,
send it to me, we would put it on agenda to discuss that. There was a council member in this room that asked the ordinance committee to look at this. However, I would like to specify, the ordinance committee did not just send this to P&Z. This was voted on by council for this specific matter to be examined by P&Z. This was not voted on by the ordinance committee. This was voted on by council to send it because it is a P&Z issue.
Council can't act on it without P&Z.
Correct. Council cannot act on it without P&Z's recommendation. So, like I said, I apologize, did not plan on speaking, but on behalf of the ordinance committee, who's all three members are in this room, I felt that it was important to clarify that that was an inaccurate statement, and that is how this came about here. It is important for committee processes for specific items or specific topics to be looked at by committees. And as Councilman Rucker said, council cannot act on this until this body here deliberates on that.
Well, I'd like to know what councilman, so to show that they're not representing the board properly.
What is it?
I'd like to know what councilman brought it to the ordinance because they're not representing the board properly, obviously. Let's call them out. Why are we holding back? We want to outvote them and get them out of council. They shouldn't be there if they're going to propose this.
I would recommend that out of order. But
out of order.
But what I would recommend doing is, it was on if I could still have the floor here. The council agenda, I don't remember what date that was on the council agenda. I can't remember. But you can research online publicly through the City of St. Albans' website. All of the council agenda and minutes are available online, and as the topic, which will be to send to P&Z, it will have which council person, I don't want to say sponsored, but was the one who brought that forward. So that would be the best method of action if you were wanting to research and get that answer.
Thank you for clarifying.
So, thank you all. Sorry I didn't plan on speaking, but I wanted to clarify that. So, thank you. You've had a rough couple months. So, thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
Just one real quick, and I promise to make it fast as I can. I'm Dale Withrow. I did not know about this meeting until
I'm trying to hear.
I did not know about this meeting until I saw this notice on Facebook. And this apparently was mailed to someone or given to someone, but our family did not receive it. So I would ask that you make sure that this goes out to all interested parties. The other thing is, and you may do this, but again, I'm not aware of it. If this types of changes could be made public so that we can view it, because by the time this got through Facebook, I was of the opinion that the Gestapo was going to come and chop up our campers and sell them for scrap metal. So that's the way Facebook works. So my suggestion is make sure everybody gets a copy of this notice when you have a meeting, and let's be as public as we can with the changes. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there any further discussion? If not, well.
Madam Chair, I move that the bill to amend Article 1333.08 be sent back to City Council with the recommendation that it be rejected as written, with the comment that it is overly restrictive.
I'll second that motion.
Yes!
Is there a discussion?
The only things that I want to say, and a lot of what I've heard this evening has been true to me as well, just like blocking the sidewalk. If the blocking the sidewalk issue, then it is an enforcement issue, and we need to enforce that kind of thing. You know, I'm from a family of boaters and RVers and everything else, and I know a lot of people have reached out to me when they found out I was on this committee and wanted to ask me about this. And I even talked to Mr. Hart, reached out to me, and I talked to him a little bit about this. There's people that may buy a house because they see that side concrete pad sitting there for their RV. Or you guys may have invested money to do this. So, you know, I think it's more of an enforcement issue, not the restrictions. And the 4 foot, and also we can look at if it's a safety issue. I'm sorry, Chief Bass, but I mean, I'm gonna bring you into this fold. If it's a safety issue, can't we get the police chief involved for a safety issue?
If it's back on their property, no.
So, but.
If there's a camper parked on the street, yes.
Right.
We pass campers parked on the street all the time. We don't put parking tickets on them unless people complain.
Right.
Because if somebody's parking there, they're going out of town the next morning or whatever, we're not going to put a parking ticket on it. But if it's back on the property, no, we can't. If it's a safety issue on property, that has to be the building department.
Is that something, Marshall, where are you?
There you go.
If it's a safety issue, okay, and they have the 4 foot setback, but they're on a end of a block, and it's really and truthfully a safety issue, is there something that you could do?
Yeah, I mean, we can deal with that. You have to have a line of sight. Everybody wants to be able to back out of their driveway. I mean, Greg, you know.
So again, it goes back to the enforcement issue. So I'm in favor. Oh, we got to vote. So.
If you have more to say.
No, I'll say what I.
Any further discussion?
I actually have, I just have a couple of things to say. So, you know, I got the agenda for this meeting, you know, a while back. I think City Council sent it to us maybe at their first meeting in August, if I remember correctly. And I don't have a boat. I don't have an RV. This doesn't affect me. And honestly, this is one of those things that I was hoping to hear from people about. And at about 10 o'clock last night, I got on Facebook and found out that people were interested in it. So thank you all for showing up. You know, this is, I mean, I think that our minds are a little bit blown that this many people cared enough to show up to a P&Z meeting. So thank you for that. You know, when I first saw the text of these changes, I was a bit skeptical of it just initially, just because to me, when you're talking about, you know, a person who owns real property in St. Albans and then owns personal property like a boat or an RV, then the burden is on the person wanting to make things more restrictive to, you know, show that there's a compelling case for restricting somebody's property rights. And, you know, so I mean, I kind of thought, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to vote, you know, against this, just it's against my philosophy. And then I've seen a lot of people come in and say, you know, well, I don't have room to set my boat or my RV back 15 feet. I didn't think of it because I've never had to measure my driveway to see if I could fit a bass boat. But, you know, I really appreciate that. And like, I think it was Mr. Tabbitt who said that, you know, this restriction paints with a really broad brush. And why can't the city go and, you know, deal with the individual properties where, you know, maybe having things set 4 feet from the road is a problem. That's the problem, is city ordinances paint with a broad brush. And it's really hard to go and tailor something that is going to be very specific and target specific properties. It's also not entirely fair. So, I mean, for that reason, you know, I think we should approve this motion to request that the council reject their bill, reject their proposed change. Well, that's the motion, but you know, just any further discussion.
Any further discussion?
But just for clarification purposes, when we vote aye, we're voting against the change.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure everybody understands when especially you audience hear us say aye, that we're voting against this. And I do request that we have a roll call.
So we're going to vote on this.
All right. So if you'd like, I could restate the motion. All right. I move that the bill to amend Article 1333.08 be sent back to City Council with the recommendation that it be rejected as written with the comment that it is overly restrictive.
Yes.
Yes.
You have a second?
Do I have a second?
Jody seconded it already,
All
so.
in favor?
Well, I asked for a roll call.
Mhm. So you just mentioned
Roger
it.
Massey says aye. Joe Cooks, aye.
Barbara Foster says aye.
Brent Epling says aye.
Kevin Pennington says aye.
Yeah, that's how it.
Motion
Motion
carries.
passes.
Before everybody leaves, can I say one last thing?
Well, maybe once we've adjourned.
Oh, okay.
We do have to officially end the meeting.
Is there any further business?
Madam Chair, I would like for us to consider having a meeting in early November to begin discussing the need for an updated comprehensive plan, as the last 10-year plan expired in May of 2025. And that's just a comment. All right.
And since I have so many people here, I am the Parks and Rec Superintendent. We are having our haunted trail this weekend. And
There you
we
go.
volunteer.
Perfect opportunity to get it on.
6 o'clock on Friday night and help tour guide for us. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I move we adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Hey guys, on the comment of looking on the website for who the councilman was that recommended it, before you burn a cross in the yard, remember, he could have gotten a request and he has an obligation to bring that forward. You can't blame the councilman and brought it forward.
Good word. Thank you all.